Hi, Mimi.
Yes.
I hear that you are my host today.
Yes, I'm your host.
Okay, so this is Be My Host, and the whole concept is to have friends and loved ones and anyone come on this show and just ask questions, everyday questions, and we trust God for good responses. So I hope I can answer your questions today. Let's
Hopefully.
let's let's get to it.
Okay. So I've been listening to Anatomy of Poverty series and don't have a lot of questions to ask, but I think the part three actually answered most of my questions. But then again, I'm still curious, how do you align short-term actions with long-term goals, like prolonged business goals, especially when you are faced with immediate challenges?
Yeah, so I think that's a fantastic question. Short term actions, I like the word short term actions. And I like the way you harmonize it with long term goals. Because sometimes we want to measure the actions in a way that it's meant to look like long term actions. I don't think there's even anything called long term action. Many things that we do for long term purposes will always come in short term actions. The same way that I say that there is really nothing that is global. Everything that we call global is simply a collection of local. So when you bring local things together, it becomes a global thing, like social media, like fashion. It starts from the local scene, then it graduates into the global scene, right? The same thing with long term. Long term will require many short term actions. So when you act in the now, but what drives your actions in the now is propelled by an intention for the future. So many times when you do an investment, it's a now action. And you may call it short-term action or long-term action. I just think that many actions are usually short-term actions. But the impact of the action is what we analyze. Everything, even when somebody commits a crime, many times they are short-term actions with long-term consequences. So many actions will present themselves to us as short-term. And it's that presentation of short-term action that makes us lose sight of the sense of consequence. We think that the actions end in themselves, but many actions have long-term effect. The same way it happens in negative parts of our lives, we must apply it intentionally to the areas that we desire. So when you have a long-term goal, you now find the short-term actions that you need to put together in series of days, of months, or even years that will lead to a long-term outcome.
So I'm curious, does it mean when you want to strategize a business, you have to just cut the short-term actions, like don't think of it?
Yes, for example, I want to have, let's say, the biggest fashion brand in Abuja. I'm going to have to think short-term first. The objective is I want to be a great fashion house in Abuja in the next 10 years. That's my long-term vision. When you have, yes, let me say this now. Many times you approach a goal or a dream, you approach it as though you are back from the future. That's the word. So it's like you've been to the future and you return back from your future. So you have a 10-year plan, a 10-year goal. I want to be married with 3 children in 10 years. I want to have a business that is about the best in a city in 10 years. That is the future. You go there. Then when you are done experiencing the beauty of that future, because you need to feel it like it's real, you come back to now. And then you now start taking small time actions or short term actions. For example, I want to have the biggest fashion house in Abuja. Doesn't mean that you begin by renting the biggest shop in Abuja. You may have to start selling those clothes in your bedroom and posting them on WhatsApp. Those are short term actions, but with a long term objective and goal. Does that make sense to you? So
Yes.
many times we usually put ourselves in trouble when we start too big in a way that it must measure to the size of what we see in the future. The door that leads to the future we desire many times are very tiny doors. And you have to find a way to shrink yourself to go through them to embrace the big future that you see.
So a situation where you are like, oh, I don't have time, I don't have time. I don't really have time to set these long term goals. I really need to do something short. I really need to follow a short process because there's no time. So does it mean, okay, I have a business plan, yeah? I have a business plan, I want to set up something. And hopefully, maybe in the next 5 years or 10 years, like you said. But then again, I'm not really hitting this spot. It's not as if I'm not working towards it. Maybe life situations, physical challenges, emotional challenges, and all. So, how do I now align this short term action to get me to that point? Does it mean I should just forget about that goal and focus on what, like the now? Or I should still just think of building it? How do I
So
put
there are many
it?
parts that lead to one place. When you figure out the place, you now begin to analyze the path that is most suitable to arrive at the place. So let's say you have a goal for 10 years' time. You come back to your present, and you can't say that I don't have time. That is probably one of the Gen Z problem. They want fast food outcomes. They want something that is quite fast. I want to boil noodles and eat now, now, now. Many things can be achieved like you boil noodles, right? So you need to understand that I have a goal for a place. There are various parts. I want to go to Makodi, for example. I can get to Makodi through Lafayette. I can still go through Lokoja. It may just take me maybe 5 more hours. And it may look like it's not sensible to go through Lokoja because going through Lafayette is way shorter. What if I hear that there is a riot in Lafayette? God forbid. And the riot has been on for the past 3 months. At that point now, the logical decision to make is to follow the longer route. And speaking about short-term actions and prevailing challenges, that is what you think about. So I have 4 routes to my desired location. I analyze all 4 of them. The A and B may be the shortest option, but I'm saying that there are crises there, challenges there that may be too risky. So I may opt to follow the longer route because even though it's way longer, but it's surer, it's safer. In other cases, when I analyze the routes properly, I have an uncle in Lokoja with whom I can stay the night. But if I do that, it will slow down my pace. So because Lafayette Road is opened, I will go through Lafayette regardless, even though I don't have any relative along that route. You see that now? So you must determine the place first, back from the future. Then when you do so, you analyze the routes. And sometimes when you analyze the routes, you might also be informed by that analysis when is the best time to start. Because sometimes the best way to start is not to start. You may need to subject yourself to training under somebody who has begun the journey ahead of you. And then you do that for the first 3, 4 years, 5 years, 1 year, 3 months, it doesn't matter, before you start. Good ideas can wait. There's an urgency that we feel when we capture clear ideas of our future. But that urgency sometimes, they are traps. Because every good idea, if it's truly a fantastic idea, they can wait. And we need to know when is the right time to start. That's number one. Know how to start. And in many cases, you may need to start small or you start in partnership with somebody else already doing it, either as a partner or as a protege. And then you begin to build all the blocks like we do in buildings. Many times you acquire the materials. You want to build a house, you buy the blocks, you buy the cement, you buy the rods, you buy, everything and leave. And then, you might say, buy only blocks. No, if I buy only blocks, I can't build. Because when I buy the blocks, I'll need the cement. So I have to determine what do I really need to build. I need the cement, I need the block, I need the sand. So I buy all 3 of them first before I start the process of building. So in many ways, when you want to begin a vision, a plan, marriage, whatever it is, find out all the things you need to build it. And then you acquire them one by one. They may be very different. One may be experience. The other may be connection. The other may be skill. The other may be capital. You raise all those possibilities and then you merge them together and they can say, I have started. And even in that starting, you may have to start small.
Okay. So you said something that actually caught my attention. You said that's one thing with the Gen Zs, the promptness and all. So sometimes it's not as if the Gen Zs actually want to be fast, but that idea is not going to wait for you. There's no time. The world is evolving. I mean, it's technology age, right? Okay, someone like me now, right from, okay, let me say a few years back, I came up with a plan. I wanted a tech kitchen. Like, I want it so bad. I'm still working towards it. But then I look at some possibilities, and of course I know when to start. I really want to start, but I can't start now because of the challenges, right? But the world is evolving. Someone might not listen to my business plan. Someone might not even know what I'm talking about. But then again, they might have the exact same plan and implement it. So when you now start implementing yours, oh, this plan is already far gone. Somebody's
Yeah,
already doing it.
yeah. I mean,
So how do you
there's
handle that
nothing
situation?
new under the sun. Nothing. So all that we do is either to improve existing solutions. What you want to do now, the tech kitchen,
Kitchen.
is you trying to improve an already existing solution. And we have a world that has billions of people.
Exactly.
There is no business on earth that has been able to meet the needs of every single person on earth, however big that industry is. Call their names. If you check the scope of people they are able to reach, it's just a fraction of the population and demographics of the earth. The clouds and the sky is so big. And the idea that, or the concept that ideas cannot wait, I wouldn't fully agree with that. Okay? It may be that somebody else is doing it. Now, if you jump also on the idea prematurely, you stand a greater risk. When you delay on an idea, you may just have to catch up with what is available in that industry. Let's say somebody else begins your tech kitchen before you.
My point exactly.
Yeah, you might have to just catch up with the person. But what if you start up the tech kitchen so poorly, and then somebody sees how you failed in your attempt, takes it off you, and runs with it? You have discredited yourself because you began prematurely. Everything that you are becoming now, because I have a little bit background information about how well you are doing now. Everything you are becoming now, everything you are succeeding at now, is helping you build a pedigree that will eventually add to the potentials of the idea that you have. Because a point is coming that everyone will want to do business with Mimido. If you had begun this maybe 5 years ago, we'll just tell you, I will call you later. You know that I will call you later thing?
Yes.
You have a beautiful idea. Oh, my dear daughter. You are so smart. Okay, I will call you later. All right? And then you suspend your life like most people do. And you are all about this. You have suspended everything else that could have added to what you needed to become all you want to be in this dream. Okay. Like you are becoming now. So now you are becoming more trusted. You are knowing new people. You are meeting new people in different fields. You know, you're telling me some days ago about some people you met who are very popular on TikTok. You are now meeting new people. So imagine now that in a year time or so, you come and say, I want to start this thing now.
Yes, makes sense.
So everything that you're becoming is still part of the blocks and the building material for the future that you see 10 years coming. And if you begin to see things like this more intentionally, you will approach all these realities with more pride, knowing that everything I'm becoming now, on my current job, with the things I'm even selling by the side, all of that is building into the dream you see in 10 years' time.
Okay, so let me round up question one. So the reason why I actually made it like that, because I wanted gross explanation on this. So the short-term action was more of like a tech kitchen. When someone listens to a kitchen, the first thing that comes to the person's mind is food, right? Mm-hmm. Food and what you can cook and what you can give. So the short-term action is the cooking aspect. Of course, I can cook. Definitely, I know that when you try out my food, it's going to be nice.
I have not tried it. I have not
But
tried.
then again, I know I'm not the only person cooking. But then this tech kitchen is a unique idea that I'm well known of, that most people don't know about it. Mm-hmm. But then again, that's a long-term goal. It's a technology age. You might just wake up one morning and see that, oh, your whole idea is out there. So it got me wondering.
So it's not your idea, it's an idea.
Okay, an idea.
All right. People have been doing taxi for a long time. Uber just brought a different side to taxi. And when Uber came out, there have been other companies doing the same thing. iDrive, Bolt, and other companies, right? Same thing with Tesla. People have attempted electric vehicles for a long time. So Tesla, Elon Musk did not begin the idea of electric vehicles. We even had hybrid vehicles by popular companies, but he took the electric thing to the next level. And after he did that, many other companies have jumped on it. right? All popular brands from Audi to Mercedes-Benz to Hyundai, all of them have jumped on it. So that's the way ideas are. Space exploration has been on for a very long time by many countries. And then SpaceX have jumped in with a new side to it. That's the way ideas, there's always space. And if you understand that one of the ways to see ideas is not just to solve a problem, it's to reinvent a solution. So even when somebody thinks they have copied your idea, that originality that is inside you will make your own distinct. I know we can both be selling suits, but we sell with different energy. We might be selling phones, but we sell with different energy. The way that I experience buying phone from you may be different from the way I experience buying phone from someone else, even though both of you are selling exactly the same phones. So even if it looks like somebody has copied, or not copied because they don't even know what is in your heart. Let's assume somebody has duplicated what you had in your heart to do. You can still bring a different experience to that original idea. Do you get it? So I want to do tech, whatever. The experience of a service is at a different level from the service itself.
Yes.
We can all have hotels, but the experience that I create in my hotel can be different from the experience you create in your hotel. So the same way, your tech kitchen is still original to you, even if somebody does something very similar, because you can bring an experience in that tech kitchen that is original to Mimido.
Okay.
So ask me what's the problem?
No, the thing is, well, I was just looking at the competition because sometimes it's so annoying and draining because you might just bring up an idea and you know that if you place this idea now, it's going to kick fast into the market. But then again, you don't have the resources and the time to actually make it work.
So is this a
you
Gen Z
have
problem?
No, it's not really a Gen Z problem.
Is
It's the word
it a Gen
itself.
Z problem to be afraid of competition?
No.
Where we have a hotel in Macaulay, there are 2 hotels on that street. Do you get it? They were there before us. They are known. If you call their name back, in fact, let me just you. At some point, we were describing the location of our hotel by the other hotels. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're coming to our hotel, we are after this hotel. So we're using the other hotel to help describe the location of our own hotel. So on our street, pretty much around just 1 minute walk, there are 3 hotels. And we are still excelling. Excelling. So competition is an advantage if you are a true entrepreneur. And that's the thing we need to now probably talk about. How do I deal with competition? Competition is an advantage. Competition tells you how things can be done differently. Right? And it keeps you awake. It keeps you on your toes. It keeps you not so comfortable and you feel like you are the Lord and Master. You can't avoid competition. Even in marriage, you marry husband and other guests are still competing for the husband. So you can't avoid competition. You now need to find a way to build a structure that creates an exception to your brand.
Okay. But the thing is, online competition is mostly different from physical competition.
It doesn't make it any different. I mean, we have many social media handles and they're all doing well. When we had Facebook, it felt like Facebook was going to be the only social media on earth. Now we're having different other social media handles and doing incredibly well. There are many platforms that are online that, they are still going through competition. And in fact, I think that even online platforms are even easier to navigate around competition. Really, if you put in the work, it will require hard work, but you can't be afraid of competition. Don't try it. If you can manage competition, when you design an idea, a brand, you must prepare for the prospect and the problems. Always remember that. When you engage an idea, always prepare for the prospect and the problems. And one of the things you prepare for are competitions. And there are ways that you can be prepared for competition, that competition may even move from being a problem to a prospect. That's what I'm saying now. You can use competition to your advantage. That's what I'm saying to you. that as you gear yourself for prospects and problems, there's a way you will prepare yourself that what was problem 1 year ago will become a prospect. Sure. But competition is a reality. Which is better? That you began first. Your idea. You began first. So you can say, I'm the pioneer. It's me, Mimi Do. The one that began this idea. And then 2 years, some 13-year-old children with some high IQ take your idea, dissect it, find all the errors in your idea, relaunch it with a better name and a better style, and take over the market. So will you sue them to court?
No.
So the fact that you are the first to release it doesn't mean that you own it. The iPhone, the Apple tablet, which is called iPad, right? The iPad tablet was not the first tablet in the market, but it was just the most popular tablet in the market. Even Microsoft had begun an attempt on tablets before iPads became popular. You see what I'm saying now? So if you ask, you say, iPad was the first tablet. No, it wasn't. It was the first one that you knew about. There were various attempts on tablets before iPad ever came on scene. And then there have been many other tablets ever since. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So does it mean that Apple will not say, there are too many of us now. We'll stop making phones. Let's go and start making shoes. You can't do that. Apple is still making phones, even though there are like 1 million brands of phones on earth. You see my point now?
Yes.
So you can't run from idea because you want to be the first to have the launch of the idea.
Okay. So from what I understood from question 1, it's okay to wait.
Well, just on question 1.
It's okay
It's
to
good to
wait.
wait, yes.
Okay. So to my Gen Zs out there, it's always okay to wait.
Yes, please.
You don't need to rush it.
Not only Gen Z, it's for everybody.
Okay,
We should wait. Many ideas can wait, and waiting is not idleness.
Okay.
There is also how to wait. When I say wait, I'm not saying just wait. You know what I'm saying? So there is what to do when you wait.
Of course, you have to.
You prepare yourself. You brainstorm. You network. You ask questions. You study the market. You observe. You see what people are doing with other brands. You know, so there's what to do even while you're waiting. But the critical thing here is good ideas can wait, and good ideas are good ideas today or tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah. So question number 2.
Permission to proceed to question
Please,
number 2.
permission granted.
Okay, so I want to know, what's the misconception about leadership that you feel I should know?
So we had,
and how to avoid it.
Yeah, we had an Unravel event, I think last year when? August. Yeah, so we're teaching on mentorship.
Okay.
And one of the things that, I was teaching at that conference was that we have turned mentorship into lordship.
Yes.
So you see, in Nigeria, in Africa, we call our leaders, our presidents, our political people, we call them rulers. In developed nations, they call them leaders. That tells you something. That's true. If you go to America, you go to other countries, they call their political, people leaders. In Africa, we call them rulers. And that is a big misconception in leadership. We look at leadership like lordship. And that's not what it is. In fact, the real essence of leadership is service. First, service with the instrument of influence. You take the influence and you engineer service.
So, from what I'm getting now, we the Nigerians actually make it look like they are rulers. We don't have
lordship,
an opinion.
Yes.
We don't have a say.
If you are a leader, everybody must hear me. No, in fact, because you're a leader, you should hear everybody else. But we think that because we are leaders, everybody must do it our way. We must do it. It must be my way or no way. Okay. That is a big misconception, in my opinion, of leadership, when we feel that we are lords and masters. Leadership is first designed for service. But the unique element of that service is influence, because once you are a leader, you are a man of influence. Is that you're able to influence followership. And one of the things that I was teaching at that conference also was that a leader must also be actively a follower. A leader that cannot follow is a scam.
Okay.
You know why? Because if you are leading and you expect people to follow, it means that what you are selling is actually followership. You want people to follow.
Yeah, you're doing what you're practicing what you preach.
Yeah, so if you cannot follow, why do you want us to follow you?
Yeah, that's true.
And many leaders don't want to follow, but they want to be followed. That's scam now. You are selling something that you cannot eat. You say, I should buy this thing, but you cannot use it, but I should buy it. Why will I buy it?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? If you're selling what you can use, it's scam now.
And I think that's one big major thing in Nigeria. The leaders always make it look like they're promoting the government schools, but then again, their kids can't even attend
They
the
will not
government
go there.
schools.
All right? So you are selling something to me. You are saying I should be patient with you. You want us to be patient with you, but you cannot be patient with us. You want us to hear you, but you can't hear us. You want us to follow you, but you're not following anyone. You know what I'm saying? You want us to submit to you, but you can't submit to anyone. True authority is usually under authority. You can't say you are a person of authority if you can't subject yourself to authority.
Because you also started from somewhere.
Exactly my point. So if we begin to see leadership as service, it's a big burden to serve people. In the same way when I talk about employers and employees, I was talking to somebody some days ago, and he said he just began his company, and for the first time, he now felt what it means to be an employer, because by the end of the month, he had to pay out over 500,000 in salaries. And for the first time, instead of him earning money by the end of the month, he's now paying out, and it was very painful.
Wow.
You see my point? So people don't see that reality, that when you're a leader, you must give. It's not for taking. If you want to be a leader, you must, and people must believe in your values. If you can't consume what you're selling, it's like raising your children and telling them you must come first in class. You must come. But meanwhile, while you were in school, you were not in class. But you want them to come first in class. But when you were in school, you didn't want to go to. You see my point? Yeah, and when we begin to think about leadership from that perspective, then we also need to begin to re-examine ourselves to ensure that we qualify to be titled leaders.
So I had this neighbor back then where I was staying at high level. So he told me he was going through his parents' pictures. He's 15 years old as at then. I was 15 years old. So he was going through his parents' pictures, and he was like, he saw his dad and mom at the beach. And they're dressing like as at then, they're almost half naked.
Yeah.
And now if he goes somewhere and he doesn't come back quick, his dad will be like, why did you waste time?
Oh,
His
yes.
dad is now being overprotective.
Oh, yeah.
Meanwhile, he was actually flexing back then. So him too is going to do his own back. So what should talk to him?
I mean, that's not a good excuse, really, because sometimes we also learn from the mistakes of our parents. So if my dad isn't illiterate, for example, and he's suffering as a consequence of that, and when I speak of literacy, I'm not saying go to school, because you can be literate without going to school. Yeah. But let's even assume that I say that he's where he is because he lacked literacy. I won't say that because he's not literate, he cannot tell me to be literate. If I have assessed him that his life is shortchanged as a result of the lack of literacy, then I should learn from that and do better. If my father had many enemies because he was rude to people, I won't say because you are rude to people, let me have my own share of being rude to people before you advise me to be nice to people. Why would I want to throw a part that is rotten, that I've seen that is not correct? So even if my father or my mom was nude in a picture, does not mean that I should be nude in a picture. Okay. And that also begins to work on the new breed of leaders. So this is what I say, every leader is a potential follower, and every follower is a potential leader. So if you know that reality and it sinks into you deeply, even while you are following, you will follow as though you are preparing yourself for the potency of leadership that you have. So many things that the one before you is doing, you will not replicate it. Even when you have a leader that is committed to you, it's not everything they do that you replicate, because some things they do, you learn from them and you do better. You see what I'm saying? So you don't just follow blindly, which is also a problem in Africa. We just follow blindly. He jumps, we jump. He lies, we lie. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So you can't just follow blindly. You must follow like a potential leader. That one day someone else will follow me. I must be sure that whatever I'm doing now can be photocopied.
Sure. Some leaders don't even like you correcting them.
Exactly my point. So that's why the leader must have the quality of being able to listen. Not just hear, listen. Not just look, see. So let people be able to speak to you. Listen to your errors. Listen to the voices of people. Listen to their emotions. I was talking to someone some days in my office, and I was telling her why I had done something because she had told me her feelings about something in the past. And when I heard that, it helped me to deal with something else that happened in the company because I had listened to her posture of my reaction before. So this time I had to do it in a way that was better. Are you seeing that now? So leaders must listen.
Okay.
So that's a big issue with leadership in this country or in Africa, especially in Africa. We don't listen. We don't want to follow, but we must be followed. We must be lords and masters. And that's a big problem. Yeah.
Okay. I think I've learned that.
How much time do we have?
Like 5 minutes.
Okay, so we have 5 more minutes. Yes. So,
Okay, so,
let's take one more question.
I think the next question I want to ask, you answered it already. I wanted to ask, how do you align innovation and risks? And when do you know it's right, like take a risk or innovate something?
Yeah, so innovation and risk is still a good question. Everything that we do will require a measure of risk.
Okay.
Everything that we do, even when you came out this morning, there was risk involved. Everything that we do will require a measure of risk. Risk is an essential part of our lives. It's not a conditional matter. It's not an optional matter. Risk is a must. All right? But there are good risk and there are bad risk. And when you check what makes up for good risk and bad risk, I can't say all of that now. Maybe you go and watch one of our series that will teach very soon on risk management. But you want to check the probability of the risk and the impact of the risk. If I jump from a 2-story building, what is the probability that I will break my leg? It's very high. So that tells me that don't jump.
Don't jump.
If I jump from a 2-meter height, what's the likelihood I will break my leg? Almost 0. So I can't jump. So you want to check the probability of the action, of the risk, and the impact of the risk. You can have a high probability but less impact.
Okay.
You can have high impact and low probability. That's how you analyze risk. But risk is a must. So you either minimize it or you eliminate it. There are ways to go around that. And speaking of innovation, many times we think that innovation must be something that is new to us. Nobody has ever done it before. Like you're saying now, tech kitchen is new to you. You are in Nigeria, you're in Abuja here. There are like 1,000 places on earth you have not been to. You have no idea what's going on there. Somebody else probably doing this in like 5 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I was actually hitting at.
So innovation is a beautiful reality that should not be suffocated by the fear of replication or pre-existence. That because somebody has done it before, I can no longer feel like I'm innovating. So the pre-existence of the idea should not squash the potential, the beauty of innovation. Because many times innovation is not something new. It's just you doing something differently.
Yeah, something that existed before.
Yes. So it's either you are solving an old problem in a new way, or you are taking an old solution and revising it. All right. But never be threatened by the pre-existence of an idea. Because the fact that you did it gives a uniqueness to the idea. Everybody has done it except you. When you do it, you bring a uniqueness to that idea. So you always own the beauty of your innovation.
Okay.
So I think that we're out of time.
So I want to let's just round it up now with this one question. So when you're discussing something about leadership, then something prompted inside of me. So I really want to ask, as a true leader now, how do you now balance personal and professional relationship?
It's one. It's one. One of the
There's
things.
nothing like personal and professional is one. A relationship is one. Or
Yeah, I mean, when you say personal, are you talking about workplace or family?
yes, work, personal. No, no, no. Just like how do you build? Maybe you have a relationship with your staff outside work.
Are you talking about a leader in workplace or a leader at home?
Generally.
Yeah, I mean, there are different kinds of relationship. So you can't bring these two contexts into the general scene of my relationship, because I could be a leader at home to my children. It's all personal. It's not professional.
Okay,
I
so
could be a leader in the office. It's mostly professional and not personal.
so a situation where your son works with you, how do you balance it?
Oh, okay. So that's what you mean. Yeah.
Yes.
So there are two ways to balance it. Number one is to play my role in creating a distinction of the dispensement of my duties to him. The other part of it is to teach him also to understand how he dispenses his duties to me.
In the office and at home.
All in the office self. So, because in the office, he can be a staff and still be my son.
Okay.
Even in the office, there are aspects of his duty that may require him to be a staff. And there are aspects of his duties that will require him to be a son. The same way that there will be aspects of my duties to him that require me to be a boss. And there will be aspects of my duties to him that will require me to be a father in the office. There's some things I will do for him only because he's my son and he's not out of place. He's my son. So I cannot just say that in the office, all I am to you is your boss. No. There are things I will do for him. Even the employment he got was probably because he's my son.
Okay.
And the people I've also employed because they know people that I know. I've not employed everybody only on professional basis. There are people that I've employed because they know someone I love.
Okay.
So you can't take away that aspect. They're giving me a sign that it's time off. So, all right. So we have to shut this down now. I have been warned by the team aggressively to keep to time. So this is all we can take on this episode of Be My Guest. So let's see who is going to be our next guest on the show. Thank you, Mimido, for being my guest.
Thank you so much. I really...
Is it being my guest? Oh, being my host. Okay, sorry. I'm the guest. So we look forward to the next person that will be my host. Sorry, forgive me. So, but on today's episode, thank you, Mimi, for being my host.
Thank you so much for being my guest. I really, I really learned a lot. And the last thing I can actually say is, like I said it before, Gen Zs is always okay to wait. Thank you so much.
Don't put me in trouble with Gen Zs, all right? Because I'm going to have a lot of Gen Zs being my host, all right? So we look forward to the next person who will be my host, and I hope that maybe someday it will be you. God bless you. We love you.